Leadnurse Africa.
I'd like to say a big thank you to the organizers of this conference who have continued to be like Dexter Yago. Whatever you're looking for is looking for you. And whatever you are seeking is also seeking you. May I ask you to turn to the person next to you and say, whatever you're looking for is looking for you.
Whatever you're looking for is looking for you.
Whatever you're seeking is also seeking you.
Whatever you're seeking is also seeking you.
So get out of your own way and go and get it.
So get out of your own way and go and get it.
Leadnurse Africa.
Is there anybody else at the back who can hear my voice clearly now? I have something for her to come forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Just to let you know that my voice is loud enough. God has given us 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. One of the modules you'll be taking over the next few months and years is the ability to communicate effectively. And I'm beginning to see here, that is why sometimes the doctor would say, go and get me this equipment, you are bringing the wrong one. Because we do not listen. Because we do not listen. Somebody didn't listen to me a few years ago. When I went to a pharmacy to seek help, I wasn't feeling too well. And someone said, go to the pharmacy, and I did. And the pharmacist asked me to go to a doctor because they were not sure whether it was malaria or whatever it was at the time. I'd lived out of Nigeria for about 28 years at that time, so I'd never had malaria in almost 30 years. I saw the doctor, and I brought out my wallet and I showed him the medication I was on. One of those medications still clearly said that I should not take it with grapefruit. He offered me fruit cocktail. I asked him if his job was to kill me, he could have done it easily. But not just to throw it at my face. And he said there was nothing wrong with it. These are the tools that I think we need to unlearn to understand the importance of the people that we are with. What Leadnurse Africa is trying to do is to go not where the path may lead, but go where there is no path and leave a trail behind. I was born in a hospital, and that is the only link I have with the hospital. I'm not a medical practitioner. But over the last 30 years, I have fathered at least 3 children of my own. So I've been there to be at the birth and to cut the umbilical cord. So that's my 4th assignation with the hospital. Now in the last few years, when I was diagnosed with high blood pressure and all those things that you people keep telling me that I don't want to hear, I have to go back to the hospital once a year for constant medical checkup. Just about 2 weeks ago, I was at my local hospital, my specialist hospital in southwest London. And because they said I needed to go through a few tests, I met nurses like you. The only difference was that they were in a different environment. There were African nurses, there were British nurses, there were European nurses. The only difference was that they were in a totally different environment. One of them asked me to get on this exercise bike and asked me to cycle for 15 minutes. Of course, you know what this is all about. They said the average person would puff out after 8 minutes. I went on for 15 minutes, and they were looking at me. What is it that you do that you could last this length of time? I told her that my cook in Nigeria gives me ugu and bitter leaf soup. She Googled it and said to me, it lowers blood pressure. I said, thank you. I told her that my cook gives me okra, seafood okra, because he's from Akwa Ibom State. They said okra, wow, reduces cholesterol. Now, how many of us are aware of all these things despite spending years in the medical school? Thank you very much. So knowledge is power, but what makes it more powerful is its application. Knowledge in every field will double every 5 years, and if you're not learning and learning new skills, you will soon become an expert in an industry that doesn't exist anymore. Let me see by show of hands those nurses here today who have Twitter handles. Twitter handles. Twitter? How many of you are on Facebook? How many are active on Facebook? Put your hands down. How many are active on Twitter? How many nurses are active on Twitter? Is there any student nurse who is active on Twitter here? Have you tweeted this conference? If there's any student nurse who is active on Twitter then and has tweeted this conference, can come forward. I like honesty. Yes. Have you done it? You have not, because of 1,000 naira. Don't tell a lie. Any nurse, student nurse, and any practicing nurse who is on Twitter and has tweeted this conference, you need more than that. You are not just a practicing nurse. You are an organ nurse. On WhatsApp. Okay, should I donate your money to her then? Thank you very much. Give her a round of applause. Who is it for? You are the one. I don't understand. So what?
I got him
through him. Thank you. Please give me a round of applause. It's just to let us know that we've been talking and talking, and we can keep talking until we do. A change in the industry is not going to be a change until we change. If we are talking about telemedicine, Collins and his team are here to begin to rearrange your mental shells. If we want to do something we have never done, then we have to become people we have never become. So we have to become people who see this equipment not just for chatting on WhatsApp and Facebook alone, but a tool that can transform your lives and transform the lives of people you serve. Not only that, you can see that is a nurse attending to me to put me in an MRI scanner where I spent 90 minutes. While she was talking to me, she did not say, "Daddy, is anything for me?" She did not greet me, "Happy Thursday." She did not tell me that she had not received her salary. She did not tell me that she had been working the night before because the person who was to relieve her wasn't there. All she did was to welcome me. "Mr. Johnson, you have an appointment here. Please sit down." Talked me through what needed to be done, took my blood, and did everything with her colleague. Whilst I was lying in the MRI machine scanner to go in there, look at the care with which they were dealing with me. Look at the uniform. Look at the way they themselves. The only difference is the color. I'm almost certain that you are probably more experienced and even more knowledgeable than them. But the only difference is the attitude towards someone who needed help. They talked me through the whole process. What was going to happen, what to expect, that periodically they'll be speaking to me, asking me to breathe in and breathe out. And they were communicating with me all through. Has any one of you ever been in this MRI scanner? Let me see by show of hands those who have been in. Thank you very much. Only one person. It is not a very enjoyable place to be. But it is possible when the person who is talking to you makes it enjoyable. So really, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you really care. And they were so kind that even by the time I came out again, talking me through the whole process to let me know that all was well. I have been speaking the last 10 minutes and telling you a story that has been based mostly on the attitude, not on the skill, on the attitude of the personnel attending to me. You sometimes wonder what exactly it is that is holding us back. Simply, we are not aware of the possibilities that are ahead of us in our lives and in this country and on this great continent. Until we begin to think differently and do things differently, things will never ever change. A group of young, dynamic nurses have decided on the four corners of Africa to rewrite history. Not to wait for the government, because government has no business in the attitude of nurses. They have decided not to wait for the senior nurses, because just like George Bernard Shaw, they say people who get on in life never complain about their circumstances. They look for the circumstance that they want, and if they cannot find it, they create it. People will do more for others that they care about than they would ever do for themselves. How much do you really care about that patient who walks in? How much concern and interest do you have in his or her well-being as opposed to what is in his or her pocket? How much concern do you have to know that to know very well that whatever we do for ourselves, we take to the grave, but whatever we do for others, we leave behind? Ladies and gentlemen, respected medical professionals, I believe it is time for us to up the game, up the ante, up the standard of this noble profession. I grew up in England looking at medical nurses as people who are highly respected. In fact, Prof would bear me out that in some parts of England, when you reach a particular level in nursing, you are equated to a doctor and you're called a super nurse, where you tell the doctor to keep quiet.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Please give my dear sister a round of applause. But for that to happen, it's not when you turn up late. It's not when you are not knowledgeable, when you're not developing yourself. Because you know something? People will not tell you how they feel about you, but they will show it. All you need to do is to pay attention. All human development, no matter what form it takes, must be outside the rules. That is why, otherwise, we would never have anything new. We have decided to break the rules of learning. You are used to scientific symposia. You are used to sitting down and taking notes. We have decided to break the rules. But as my late grandfather would say, rules without relationship would lead to rebellion. So rules without relationship would lead to rebellion. So we are now building the relationship so that we can engage each other, educate, and of course, transform. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to this conference. Please ask questions. Challenge whatever anyone says here. This is a place where you would challenge anyone. We are all equals, doesn't matter. As long as you're in this room and there's a senior nurse that you disagree with what he or she has said, it's only an opinion. We can compromise on opinions, but not on values or principles. Yes, you can compromise on my opinion, but not on the values and principles of the profession. Once again, I'd like to thank those who have come from different parts of the country and indeed different parts of Africa to be here today and enjoy what we have to offer. We thank all our sponsors whose names will be mentioned as we go along, and you would enjoy the facilities they have brought. We thank all the support staff and everybody that has made this possible. And I want you to remember very clearly that at the end of our lives, we do not regret the things at which we failed. We will only regret those things that we wished for, but we never attempted. It's better for us to attempt this initiative and fail than to fail to try. Because what we are learning in this process has more meaning to us than what we would not have learned otherwise. You're most welcome. Enjoy yourselves. And please remember that we cannot make you a success because you are already a success. All we will try and do is to blow away the smoke of self-doubt, knowing that you have been endowed with the seeds of greatness, manufactured for success, and designed for accomplishment.
Leadnurse Africa.
If there's anywhere where change happens, it's with nurses in Lagos State.
We are going to intimate us with some of the activities that will be ongoing today so that we get familiar about Leadnurse Africa.
Leadnurse Africa.
This conference is a unique one. I'm really glad to be among the participants of this conference.
This is my first nursing conference in Lagos, and I can say I'm intrigued.
Signify. Okay.
Very interesting. It has given me an opportunity to come out of myself.
Nurses from different backgrounds, different fields came together to discuss.
I came for the Leadnurse program, and I must confess it was quite inspiring.
We are talking about establishing global best nursing practice in Africa, and this is what we are doing all over Africa.
It is my desire that you will leave here empowered, you would leave here with a better, a more broadened awareness.
We are talking about nursing care coordination.
And the good thing about it is nurses in Africa are standing up to the task of improving and widening their horizon.
And please remember that we cannot make you a success because you are already a success. You have been endowed with the seeds of greatness, manufactured for success, and designed for accomplishment.
I was totally inspired. I have new visions, new ideas running through my mind, and I really feel that Nigerian nursing can really move forward.
What Leadnurse Africa is trying to do is to go not where the path may lead, but go where there is no path, and leave a trail behind.
I really appreciate Leadnurse Africa for bringing up this platform for us to come together and as nurses to move the profession forward.
I never knew this would actually bring me to limelight, but I was just doing it because that's my passion for nursing profession.
And I'm so glad we're invited because I've been able to know that nurses are more than being bedside nurses. I've been able to know that there are other things that we could actually involve into and make this nursing profession grow better, and I'm actually very, very glad I'm here.
Because your policy as an association, as an organization, also will inform the kind of change that will come into your profession.
If we can apply all this that we have learned today, even as students and those who are already in the profession, if we can apply all this, I believe Nigerian nursing will move really far.
Minimal staff formation.
Indeed, the program has made a meaningful impact in my life, of which I know when I leave this place, my life will never remain the same again.
I've learned a lot today actually, and I'm ready to make a change.
I really thank God because I met with people who can make me to build up myself again.
I encourage all nurses out there to join this motion, join this move to change the nursing profession for good.
Let's wish you a hearty congratulations.
The program has been so wonderful, mind-blowing, educative and informative. And I must say that it's going to be a long time for me to recover for this because my eyes have been open, I know where to go, I have a direction, and I'm so happy. Thanks to Leadnurse Africa.
We hope that this program will expand our professional network so that we can have access to resources that will enable us to develop ourselves professionally, network with other professionals around the globe, and then be in touch with the current global best practice in nursing. And we thank God for all the partners we have around the world who are ready to supply the resource persons to train nurses and help them to learn effective communication, change their attitude, improve their clinical skills, and then increase their potentials to earn more money for themselves and their family.
Because the whole idea of Leadnurse Africa is not just to give us skills that we have already acquired, but to take the nurses on a mental journey to know that they have to change their perception, they have to change the way they think, they have to renew their way of thinking in order to get the outcomes that they desire, and we're able to get this feedback from the participants. That is actually, for me, is the peak, is the height of it.
And don't forget, nursing still remains the best practice.
Nurses are already making up their mind to be a part of it, and this is just the beginning for nursing profession in Africa. I hope to see you in the next conference.
Leadnurse Africa.
Leadnurse Africa.